Welcome back, guys. Cliff and Joel here. Joel is in the studio. Chandra is on vacation, and she's never coming back. Just kidding, just kidding. We love Chandra. She's always working behind the scenes. If you like the way our thumbnails look, that's all Chandra's fault. If you don't like them, it's also her fault. Let her know. We're talking about Christian music, creativity, creative energy. What's it like chasing labels? What's it like being fully independent? Where the future of Christian music and worship music is. It's Friday. This is going to be an awesome time. I'm excited to have Joel. This is not gospel. You actually haven't even been to the house in a while. We were talking about it yesterday when you came down. It's been a couple months or something like that.
Bro, we started playing shows like crazy. I mean, everything ramped up towards the end of summer, and we just got booked like to where it was like every weekend.
Yeah.
And then I started this new church job. Plus, like, there's a band with me now. So it's not just me with an acoustic, little small merch setup. It's like 12 people at each show. Like just in our crew, kind of taking care of that, dealing with whatever drama comes with that. And bro, I realized it the other day when I texted you earlier this week. I'm like, I haven't seen Cliff in like 2 months because it's been every weekend, and people don't understand how crazy that is. I can't imagine you guys 3 shows a weekend, dude. I would lose my mind,
dude. So when I think about growing up, what that was like, it's pretty freaking weird because at 16 years old, barely old enough to drive, I was spending my weekend in a different city, like every weekend. Yeah. We'd go out, like you said, and granted, a lot of them were like in the Ohio, Tennessee, Kentucky region. Yeah. But we'd be teenagers still in high school going to a different city and playing shows. Yeah. And that seemed normal to me. And I realized how, when I say it to somebody else, I realize how unnormal that is. And then with an 8-year-old now, my oldest boy, I think 4, 5, 6 years from now, I'm like, if he said, hey, I'm going to be spending every weekend in different cities, I'd be like, that's freaking weird, bro. Like, that's a weird way to live. But it's completely independent, right?
Yeah, no, dude, totally. There's no label, there's no anything. We kind of operate like a label because I have my own production company. Like we do music videos, photos. I can record my own songs, so it operates like a label. We even do our own marketing.
You have a high production level and high production value for everything you do,
dude. Yeah, if I had a couple of radio contacts, I could probably run a label, but.
This is something people don't know. So what do you do when you do a show? You do your music, you have your merch, and so you've got the setup. Do you provide the PA, or is it the PAs in the churches in-house?
The PA is usually provided, but what's crazy is we have a massive merch setup, dude. We've got like 12 items. So keeping it in stock, it's like we're moving like an Aeropostale or Abercrombie or whatever each place.
And you film most of the day.
That we've had camera crews following me for the past 3 years at every show.
Okay.
That we're turning into kind of a documentary.
So the stuff that people don't know is how much time on the back end after you've done a show. Yeah. How many man hours would you say is it, like restocking your merch, going through footage, creating social media content after just one show on a weekend?
Since I started 2 months ago, it's 24/7. I had to stop taking like music video jobs and other things. I've just turned them down because it's so time consuming. But I feel like God has put me in this spot where I'm at a church now where they're able to kind of cover my base bills to where I can do this full time and not have to take on different jobs. But bro, it's like 24/7, making sure things are posted. A show day is like 10 a.m. to when I get home at 1 a.m. And then I'm driving to Ohio 2 hours to go play the next like on a Sunday morning and lead worship.
Well, I'm going to yell at you, and I'm going to be like, you need to pick one day every week where you throw the phone away, you do nothing, and you have a Sabbath and you meditate and recharge.
So that's been key. I've actually built that into my schedule, which is part of the reason I haven't gone completely insane over the past 2 months. But bro, it's been crazy.
You pick out a Sabbath one day a week and just recharge, throw all the stuff away. Yeah. That's actually been a reoccurring thing that I've been telling Joel for a couple of years now, is that you always have to not work at least one day out of 7.
Yeah.
For me, life's a little different because we do this stuff. The channel's grown, and we're grateful for that and appreciative.
Yeah.
It hasn't been without its own layer of hate, and I was going to talk about that, like drama, because working in a church, you said you work in a church, it's covering your base bills, and you're pushing a band, and doing your own music, all independent. Every church has that bit of church drama. Every church situation, there's that bit of church drama.
Yeah.
For me, I'm leading worship in a couple churches. It's a very small thing. It's me and an acoustic. A couple of churches that run anywhere from 30 to 60, 75 people, smaller church setups. And it's Wednesday and Sunday. And for me, the drama isn't necessarily working on all that. The drama for me has been in family life kind of exploding. All the kids are in football. They asked me to be a assistant coach, and I'm like, sure, let's do that, and throwing all these things. So like you said, it feels like 24/7 you're doing something. You don't even have time to stop to write a song or to breathe, because you want to be a good dad, you want to be a good X, Y, and Z. So my life's different for me in that respect. But for you, I wanted to ask, like, how do you manage? Do you shift gears, and is there like a worship leader Joel, and then a band guy Joel, and then your buddy Joel, like your friend Joel, and then is there like a date Joel? Like if you go on a date, like is it like a bunch of hats you got to wear, or can you sort of figure out how to be the same guy in all of those situations?
So there's this girl that I'm kind of like talking to in Ohio, and it's going pretty well. And we actually had this conversation of like, there's two kind of versions of me, and there's one is like it's like the Joel Jackson. It's the performer, the worship leader on stage. And then there's me, like the bro, and the two do not intersect. Like I'm not the dude that is hanging out with people being like, oh, I got this idea for the song or whatever, or thinking about them. When I'm with you, it's kind of like I feed off your creative energy, so we do that. But when I'm around just like normal, everyday, whatever, dude, it never intersects. So I have like just the me that hangs out, and then there's the me that, oh, I got to go do this music video and everything. So I keep those very separate, because the heaviness and the weight of all of the stuff that I'm doing, I have to have space from that, because it's just too much.
Well, and you mentioned a second ago documentary, and you're not talking about your movie Rock for Jesus. You're talking about footage you've captured since then, obviously since then, because Rock for Jesus was what, 7, 8 years ago?
It was 5 years ago that we started filming, and then it came out, I guess, in late 2018 or whatever.
Okay.
And officially came out in 2019. But yeah, we have had a camera crew ever since I came back to Christian music in 2019. We've had a camera at every single show.
Okay.
And I've kind of been through this wild experience from this past April to now with my church, drama, all these other things.
And you've been pursuing a label for a while too. Like you and Mikey were recording music.
There's so much that's gone on, so we're turning it into we're going to turn it into a documentary. And initially I was like, look, we'll just put it on YouTube. It's going to be my whole marketing piece for my artist self in 2023. So we're going to go to film festivals. We're going to go to Christian film festivals, whatever we can, to try to get potentially some bigger label to be like, okay, here's the story. We can work with that. Because everybody has not responded or ran completely away from me as the artist. I don't know if it's because of the suicidal stuff, but I do know that what I hear from most artists that have made it really big is everybody said no forever. So that kind of gives me a little bit of hope.
How has that affected you in the past year? Because I know you put a lot of heart and soul into that record. You and Mikey created some really good songs. What has that done to you, the ups and downs of kind of the rat race is what I call it, of chasing after a label and chasing after that thing? And what has that done?
It set the worst tone in the world for 2022, because in January, that's when essentially everyone was kind of like, no, we're not into it. And I saw Katie Nicole, and she's great. I saw she got signed, and I was kind of, Mikey had his circle kind of around those same people. And I just had to basically be like, okay, I gotta rough it for the next year. And it took me about 3 months to get to that spot. So dude, it set a horrible mindset for me. But the past 2 months have been incredible, because so much fan support, dude. I'm showing up at these shows and people, it's not me. One, it's God, but two, it's that I've thrown my story before myself because I know the narrative and the story is way more powerful than the person. And I think that has gotten a lot of weight to it, to where now we're not even chasing a label. We're just chasing a bigger fan base, and then the label will come in.
Yeah. When you're doing creative art, music, if it feels like the gatekeepers, let's say, the artists or the labels, if it feels like the labels, the radio promoters and programmers and these people, if it feels like they don't accept it, is it easy to slip into that's where your identity comes from? Because you're creating this art, and art is subjective. And ultimately, I think most people, unless you're just like this wild poet who's like, I don't care if anybody likes it, which those are out there, most people who create art, they do look for like people who appreciate that
affirmation.
And so did you ever catch yourself getting like chunks of your identity from whether or not this song took off or
when
whatever?
all the managers and labels went silent, I was pretty wrecked, dude. And then we started playing these shows, and the fans were like, I mean, it's like people went nuts over it, and I've got footage of that, and I was like, okay, I don't care what anyone else thinks. I'm gonna do this here. I'm just like, this is where God has me. God has me here locally. We're going to play these shows because I've been doing this for 10 years and I have never seen a reaction like this. And I believe it's because I put the story first. I'm not just, oh man, he just sings Christian songs. It's not that. It's like God brought this dude from death back into life, and people related to that.
An artist we've covered a lot on this channel is Tom MacDonald.
Yeah.
One of his songs he recently came out with is called Riot.
Yeah.
And that song, it's not like the political Tom MacDonald, and it's not he has these lanes he goes in. He can get super political and controversial. He can get very personal with like his stuff about being sober and coming back to being clean and all this kind of stuff. And then he's got this other Tom MacDonald, which is like what I call Tom MacDonald's the best kind of Tom MacDonald, and it's ones where he talks about his success and how he owes it all to his fans and all this kind of stuff. Well, in that song, and I mentioned it because we just recently reviewed it and reacted to it, and he just recently released it.
Yeah.
And he's an fully independent artist who kind of does what you do, but has lots of success, big success, like 5 million followers or whatever on YouTube or whatever it is, to where he has a team built around him where every video he does for his songs, they kind of up the production level and the value. And similar to what you do, you have a camera crew follow you and stuff. Yeah. So the reason I mention him is because it feels like his brand and his thing happened by tapping into a common connection with a group of people. And he's gotten to the point now where he's like, you couldn't pay me to join a record label. You couldn't do that. And I understand at his level, when you sell X million copies and have 20 million views on a YouTube video, it's a hard sell at that point for a label. What are they going to offer him? He already does really great high production visual effects stuff on his videos. He already has a giant built-in fan base. And so my question, I guess, to you is, could you ever see yourself in that position where if you got a common connection with your story and with your songs over the course of however many years to enough fans to where you were like, forget it, I'm not interested in radio, I'm not interested in label, I don't care, I've got my people who love my stuff, that my stuff speaks to them, ministers to them, helps them, I'm good. Could you ever see yourself getting like that?
Absolutely. The problem is, and that's part of why I'm doing this documentary, is I'm just trying to push my story forward, because we've gotten to like level 3. Let's say there's 100 levels. We were at level 1 forever. We're now at level 3. I think level 4 is making this documentary really going in depth with my story, and then seeing what happens. Because if we've got the fan base and I've got churches all over the country wanting me in their church, that's great. We can build it that way.
Is that kind of the MO? Is like you either have to commit to one or two things, either give yourself X amount of time to chase a label really hard, or commit to the freaking sweat equity for however long.
I think you got to commit to the grind. I think if you chase the label, it's never going to happen. Because that's the one thing that I notice with a lot of up and coming Christian artists is they'll all move to Nashville. They'll all go to Nashville to go on a billion writing sessions, but they don't have any fans, like, at all.
Shifting gears just a touch.
Yep.
You said your movie officially came out, Rock for Jesus officially came out 3 years ago in 2019. How different, if you can get yourself in that headspace of when that movie officially came out, how different does 2022 look? Because now it's like October, close to it, like the year's basically reaching its end. It's getting close. Christmas is right around the corner, man. I'm about to hang up the tree. You know what I'm saying? Like, how different is 2022 looking back from what you would have expected it to be at the start of like 2020 when your movie just came out and stuff?
I mean, it's so insanely different. I have a kind of a rule that holds true every time in my life. Whatever I expect is going to happen is not going to happen. When Mikey said, "Hey, bro, I want to try to help you get back into Christian music," I had no glimpse of what this thing was going to be. And it's so much better than I thought, because back then, I mean, I didn't even know, like, we weren't even trying to build it on a story yet. It was just like, oh, here, we're going to start a band, and the band we're just going to go play Christian music. And it's so different.
We just played Ichthus recently. Yeah. And Ichthus is rebuilding. We know the new owners of the farm and everything. And Ichthus used to be this monster, man, like even a decade ago, this monster festival with tens of thousands of people that show up over the course of 3 days. And this was essentially like a one-day event. We were there. Sanctus Real was there. Maybe some openers, but it was a small list. It was one night. And it's rebuilding. It's the first time they've done it in a while, so it's like a smaller group of people for sure. Who were out there, and it rained still. Like, Ichthus is notorious for no matter where they put it in the year. It started in April, it wound up going to July over the years, and then August, and this is it was September, and it still rained at Ichthus. But I mean, it was fine. People got out their ponchos and umbrellas, and it was fine. Yeah. But I saw it like it's having to rebuild, and I saw that it was a smaller group of people and everything. It's a smaller event. A lot of people argue that we're in a season of having to like reinvent Christianity and not necessarily become New Age and reinvent doctrine, but reinvent the way that you reach people, the way you work in your community, reinvent everything. Do you think Christian music is as relevant today in Christian ministry as it was 10, 15, 20 years ago?
Not at all. I think and I don't say this just because I know you guys, but like, with the exception of you guys and a couple of other artists, like, I've been to enough churches for everyone to be like, man, Christian music kind of sucks. Like, in 10 years ago, the reason Ichthus was huge is there were artists like the Almost. Yeah. Like, there were Christian artists, and it's literally all worship music, bro. It's not. I ran a youth group this last year. There's no bands that those kids are into that are Christian. There's no Christian youth group band. There's no 19-year-old five 19-year-olds that are on a label that are signed. Are
you saying that like Elevation and North Point or all these big worship bands that are coming out with all these big worship songs? Yep. You saying as much good as they've done in terms of ministry and helping people and that kind of thing, they've also counter-influenced the culture in a sense that like nobody's following bands, just individual bands.
They're having the worship experience on Sunday morning. Maybe on Saturday night, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Where's the Christian breakup song? Where's all those things that like Reliant K? I've just got to like Under Oath. All these bands that were there when I was in youth group that we all listened to. When I was a junior or senior, we'd listen to the music. It's not there, dude. I ran a youth group. None of these kids know. They listen to Olivia Rodrigo. They're listening to. There's no Christian thing, and someone's going to do it. It's probably going to happen the next 10 or 20 years. I'm too old to be that band or artist now.
Do you think it's just music in general, though? Because here's the deal. If I think about, here's the thing. I could probably name 10 massive pop artists right now for every one pretty big like rock and roll or like alternative band that I can name.
All those things have fans, though. They have built-in fan bases. Okay. Dude, Christian music is literally like it's the radio. It seems like it's the radio base. Like, even like I feel like it's changed so much even since God is on the move.
Yeah.
And Just Say Jesus, those are two of my favorite Christian songs ever because there's something there.
You have big artists like Toby Mac, Danny Goki. You have big artists like Ann Wilson, these solo artists, or what's his name?
Yeah, but it's
Zach Williams.
It's all worship.
It's more worshipy. It is, but it's this solo artist. It's either pop or worship, it feels like, and there aren't any like bands that are really just kind of exploding. You have bands who've stuck it out, like the Newsboys, who are still going and still touring. You have bands that are like...
but the content isn't day-to-day life. You don't have that song like Words. Let my words be... It's all... Like, you could sing any of these songs on the radio on a Sunday morning because that's the worship thing. And it's fine, but I feel like these songs are not following people Monday to Friday. Gotcha. They're not following the young people at all that are going through stuff. These songs are written exclusively for people in their 50s and 60s. That's who's showing up at our concerts. It's people in their 50s and 60s. People.
It's for church people.
There's no 30-year-old going through a divorce song. There's no, dude, it's if I was 20 right now, I would probably be, this sounds stupid, but I'd probably be Christian Machine Gun Kelly and just push that because dude, it's not none of these kids have bands that they listen to. And I've been around enough young kids, 15 to 18 in youth groups to know they will turn on elevation worship on a Sunday, but there's no music for them.
Dude, I wonder if social media has impacted like fame culture in a way where, and it's a weird thing to say, but fame culture in a way where used to be you had rock and roll stars and pop stars and stuff, and then movie stars who were like your big celebrities, right? Yeah. And now, in just a few years of social media, you've got politicians who are celebrities, you've got intellectuals who are celebrities, you've got just influencers who just do weird random stuff all the time, like Monday Motivation, who are celebrities. Yeah. You've got UFC fighters who are celebrities. You've got just fitness trainers who are celebrities. Yeah. You've got real estate agents and real estate moguls who are celebrities because of YouTube and Instagram and TikTok. And it's like, do you think that has made it where the allure of a band or the allure of a music artist or something like that is kind of,
I think,
belittled or diminished? The value of it is diminished?
No. I think the celebrity is fully there, especially having non-Christian friends, for like these bands. It's for like anything secular. I just think with Christian music, there's like, I know myself at age 15 would not have heard "Let My Jesus Change." I would not have thought that was cool at all. And we can take that out. I would not have thought that was cool at all. And that's the only music they have. I love "For the Moments I Feel Faint" by Reliant K. Or like that like Sadie Hawkins dance song. Like, it was just like, here's songs for like the dude that's not smoking weed every weekend, doing what you're trying to stay pure. We're trying to do things. They have no music. It's, here's what a bunch of dudes in their 30s and 40s have written. Here's the lyrics for it. And it's about broken adults. That's what Christian music is for. It's for me. It's for the broken adults. Kids got nothing. Someone's going to have to take the risk. I don't know who's going to do it. It sucks because I would love to be one of those things, but I'm just too old.
Yeah, but if you're older, you seem weird. Like, if you're older and you're wanting to make your music for teenagers, it gets weird at that point.
This falls into the labels right now. They're the ones that need to do it because, in my opinion, you guys, like I called my friend after I heard "Just Say Jesus." I said, "Bro, they finally played something good on Christian radio," and it was like this rock song.
And we were mid-20s, like 25,
dude.
So, or something like that. So it's like, it's when you get older, the natural progression is to do music for your fans who were your fans 10 years ago. Those same people who are your same age, and I get what you're saying. Like, so you think it's up to the labels to try and take a chance on some of these younger artists who are grinding in, who may not necessarily have all their theology figured out, but they're trying to love Jesus. And
so someone's gonna because that's the reason Ichthus isn't massive, dude. Like 10 years ago, look at all those bands playing Ichthus. Like, they have. I played a show with Disciple.
It went from teenagers to 20-something-year-olds who were standing in a mud pit to families with young kids who are all got their lawn chairs. like all their camping chairs out there and their umbrellas. That is definitely the trend now. And a lot of the festivals that we've seen, you see less and less teenagers and early 20s standing there like this versus everybody's sitting in their spot with their family.
I played with Disciple concert.
Yeah. We played with them recently too. They were at the same festival we were at.
Okay.
Yeah.
I played it 3 weeks ago, and the whole crowd is 40 to 60s.
With their young kids running around, whatever.
With the young kids running around. And it's like, it's not that people can't be into Disciple at all, because Disciple's great, but you're going to have to market some person that's like, sounds like, that's singing about real life stuff as opposed to just let my Jesus change your life. That's great. It's a fantastic song for people that are really broken and going through something. But these kids, dude, they don't got anything. Yeah. And secular music has that. Machine Gun Kelly, Olivia Rodrigo. I'm sure there's 500 other people I could think of.
If you like this clip from the Not Gospel Studios YouTube channel, don't forget to share. Click on one of the other links and videos. You can find them here, and subscribe. I think it's down here. Tell your friends about us. Tell them that it's healthy, that it's vegan, and all of those things. Keep being awesome, because that's how God made you.